Folks, others shouldn't be paying for your problems. I'll get into that in the latest home prices and insights for condos across the GTA for week ending December 11th, 2024. It's no secret, a high percentage of condos are owned by investors. Now, there's different kinds of investors out there. There's I'll call professional investors, where they own multiple condos. This is their business. This is what they do. And then there's the overnight or the mom and pop investor, where they have their principal resident and they've seen lots of their family and friends and colleagues make money on buying condos and selling them, and they got into that. And it's an easy entry point for a lot of people that already own a property. You take some equity out of your home, you go to a pre-construction seminar, and you pay a deposit, and then another one a few months later, then another one, and voila, you're a condo investor. And there's a high percentage of condos out there that are owned that way. Everything is great when the market is going up and everybody's making a profit, but that's changed. That's not today's reality. Today's reality is in many situations that overnight mom and pop condo investor that thought that they were just getting into something passive, they're struggling. They find themselves that their condo, when they close, maybe they're going to lose money. They find thinking that if I sell it on assignment, it'll be great, but they can't sell it on assignment. So a lot of these people, seeing that, these what I call investors, the overnight mom and pop investors, because of how the market is turned, they can't afford to sell it at a loss, and they're struggling to keep it. They've kind of had no choice, a lot of them, and that's to put a tenant in there. And they're keeping their condo. Hopefully one day when the market eventually turns around, they'll be okay, because they can't afford to take that loss. Now, when they thought about purchasing the condo, they put a lot of thought into the financial side of it. How do I come up with the money? And then when they decided that, okay, we got to keep it, we can't sell it at a, and I'm just throwing a number out there, 50,000, 100,000, 200,000 loss. It's like just unheard of for them. There's no way they're going to be able to stomach that. But they think, well, it's, so what? We'll put a tenant in there. It'll make sense. We put a tenant, the tenant will cover a lot of the expenses, and we'll be good. They never go to the extent, or many times they'll say, don't go to the extent of thinking the kinds of responsibilities they'll have having a tenant. I see this from my perspective as a realtor. I'm often dealing with sellers that want to sell these condos that are tenanted. And when I speak with the tenant to talk to them about, putting a home on the market, we're going to have some showings, and the tenant is complaining about the fridge is not working properly, or the clothes washer, clothes dryer isn't working properly. They've been trying to deal with this for weeks or months, even with the seller, with the landlord. And I just find many times the respect for the landlord to the tenant just isn't there. Understand, if you're in this situation that you're going to have a tenant, that tenant, in a way, can be saving your butt. That tenant is almost like a partner without the potential financial rewards that you're having. After all, you invested in a second property for one reason only. It wasn't for the good of your health. It wasn't to supply accommodation and help greater mankind. It was for one reason only, to make money, to make a profit. And now you find that making that profit's in jeopardy, so you need financial help from a tenant. I don't want to go down the road in this conversation about how there's bad tenants out there, because we've all heard those stories. And it's not even necessarily how there's bad landlords out there, because that's true also. But it's the lack of not understanding your role of being a landlord that really I want to talk about here. It's not just all numbers. The minute you get a tenant, they're your partners in a sense. You are offering a service. Say, hey, here's some accommodation for you. You need a place to stay. I need help covering the bills every single month. Let's create a partnership here. I'll give you a place to stay. You help me cover these expenses. That's the real deal there. And so if your partner, who's the tenant, something goes wrong, is unhappy, shouldn't you as the landlord have a sense of responsibility that you got to take care of this, because that person, that tenant, is really helping you and your family? So if the fridge isn't working, if it was your own fridge in your home, man, you would jump on that immediately. Why don't a lot of the landlords do that when they're the fridge in where their tenants are staying, where the fridge doesn't work? You're not jumping on it so quickly. You're thinking, oh man, added expense, things are so tight. I'm already like cash flow negative on this property. And so you take your time and you got to wait for payday, or things are tough and you don't want to put that repair on your credit card, or they need a new washing machine, and but they could just go to the laundromat. Well, would you as the landlord go to the laundromat, or will you just immediately go out and get a new washing machine? What would you do? Why is the tenant lesser of a human being sometimes than you are? I know maybe I'm coming across a little strong, but man, I've seen some things out there that don't make any sense to me. I've seen these examples from when I'm with my buyers looking at maybe buying one of these condos, and a tenant starts telling me, this is not fixed and that's not fixed. And I'm thinking, do these landlords not understand that they need this tenant to be happy? So, if anything, this downturn in the condo cycle, if anything, it's scaring away condo investors. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Now, there's different reasons, different ways of looking at that. But if it scares away that would-be condo investor that's got no sense of respect or sense of understanding their role as a landlord towards their tenant, then maybe it's a good thing, because I think we could use fewer of those types of landlords out there. If you think this video can help somebody please pass it along. If you get value from what we're talking about, subscribe. And if you want to speak with me about your real estate situation, selling, buying, it's really simple. There's a link up here, another one below in the description. Click on that. It's a link to my calendar. Click on that, book a time that's convenient for you, and we'll talk about whatever's on your mind. Now, let's get into the numbers. Here we go, folks. In this show, specifically, we're talking about condos, condo apartments. We're going to be talking about condos in the city of Toronto, York region, and for Peel region. I have here average sold prices for 3 months, broken down by week for week ending December 11th. We're going to get started with the city of Toronto. For week ending December 11th, 135 condos were sold. 15 of those were at $1 million or more. Sales have been flat for a while, but now they look like they're coming down. Now, this is normal, actually. Usually in the fall market, what we see are sales going up, and then at some point it turns around and they start to taper off and come down. And towards the end of the year, sales are less or fewer and fewer and fewer. And then for the first couple of weeks of January, kind of the same. And then at some point in the new year, sales start to pick up again. So right now we're headed down. It's normal. This is what we see every year. Average sold price, a little bit lower than the previous week. We're now sitting at 705,000. Compared to last year, 705 is 2% higher than where we were this time a year ago. The median price of 647 is also 2% higher year over year. And if we look at the dotted line, which is a 4-week moving average, it kind of looks like, to me, average price is slightly trending downwards using the 4-week moving average as a guide. 135 were sold, 20% sold at list price or more. Listings coming down, active listings also coming down. Look, active listings is coming down, but there's still lots and lots of condos for sale, especially in relation to how many we're actually buying. And I'll get into that in a second. Months of inventory looks like it's climbing. We're now at 7.7 months of inventory. Pretty much a buyer's market when it comes to condos across the city of Toronto. But that's the whole city. Let's break it down a little bit. So if we say the whole city 7.7, well, Scarborough, we're at 6.7. East York, Riverdale, 6.7. Downtown, 11.3 months of inventory. Uptown, 7.6 months of inventory. We can go on and on, but I want to bring your attention to how many percentage-wise of what's available are actually selling. If we look at Scarborough, 18 were sold, but there's 521 active listings. So in Scarborough, 3% of the available condos for sale actually sold for week ending December 11th. Willowdale, Bayview Village area, 3% sold. Etobicoke, 3% sold. High Park, 5% of the condos available for sale sold. Downtown, where we have the lion's share of the listings and activity and condo towers, 2% of all available condos for sale actually sold. Let's look at York Region. 41 condo apartments sold. Sales have not started yet to taper down in York Region. I imagine they will. They do for most areas, but 41 is kind of normal, what we've seen over the last 8 weeks or so. 2 of those sold at $1 million or more. Average sold price is $677,000. $677,000 is 3% lower year over year. The median price is 2% lower. If we look at average price and we look at the dotted line, which is a 4-week moving average, it looks like it's trending down slightly. 41 were sold. 17% of those sold at list price or more. Listings, fewer and fewer condos are being listed. Active listings, we're seeing fewer properties or fewer condos available for sale in York Region. Months of inventory sitting at 4.5. It's pretty much a balanced market when it comes to condos across York Region. It may even look like months of inventory is trending down. Here is Peel Region condo. Now, this is for all of Peel Region, but the vast majority of these condos are being bought and sold in Mississauga. For week ending December 11th, 22 condos were sold. No condo sold at $1 million or more. Sales are coming down, trending downwards. Average sold price is $572. If you kind of look at it, the chart from this angle, it looks like average sold price is coming down. Compared to last year, $572 is 1% lower. The median price is 5% higher. When you look at the dotted line, the 4-week moving average, kind of looks like prices are flat. From the other angle, kind of looks like prices were maybe trending down a little bit. 22 were sold, 18% sold at list price or more. 77 were listed, so fewer listings, fewer active condos available for sale. Months of inventory definitely looks like it's climbing. We're now at 8.7 months of inventory. These are really high months of inventories. Here's a summary. Look, York Region, little bit of a balanced market at 4.5. It's kind of towards the top half of a balanced market when we say 4.5 months of inventory. But City of Toronto, Peel region, definitely in a buyer's market category when it comes to condos. Thanks for watching. Have an awesome day.